Hey guys, for those of you that are still piecing together the puzzle of narcissistic abuse and what and why a malignant narcissist does what they do, today I want to talk about 5 secrets that they do not want you to know. The purpose, though, of talking about these 5 secrets isn't to put the emphasis on the toxic person. It's not to put the emphasis on the narcissist, because what value would that be to you? When you learn about this information and your eyes are finally opened, that's the first step in beginning to change. Not the narcissist, but beginning to change yourself, your way of responding or reacting, so that your life changes for the better. That's the purpose of this information. So with that in mind, let's get started. Secret number 1. There is no secret formula to make them happy. Okay, there isn't one. It does not exist. The reason why toxic people don't want you to know this is because they want you to keep trying harder and harder, running faster and faster in that hamster wheel of trying to please them, to the point that your life is on the back burner. Your identity, your passions, your wants, everything about you is barely in existence. For example, okay, if you're wondering if you have been falling for this lie, ask yourself, on a daily basis, am I present in my life? Am I focused on my passions? Am I able to enjoy my passions when I'm doing them? Am I thinking about things that make me happy? Am I focusing my attention and my time on things I enjoy? Or from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, am I thinking about what I need to do to make sure that they're not angry? What do I need to hide about me so that they're not angry? And when I say hide about you, I'm not talking about bad things. I'm not talking about affairs and things that are negative. I'm talking about the good things about you. Like maybe there's a passion or a hobby that you love, but you can't do it because it makes them mad. So you hide that. Maybe it's an emotion. Maybe every time you're happy, the malignant narcissist gets so angry and you have to pay such a high price that you hide your happiness. If you are living like that, then you have fallen for the lie that there is a secret formula to make them happy. Because you are actually changing yourself in order to find it. You're actually yanking your personality inside out in an effort to either avoid their anger and or make them happy. The truth is that you could be the only perfect human being walking the earth today, and they would still find fault in you because their unhappiness has nothing to do with you. It's something that they carry inside of them, and then they project the responsibility of that unhappiness onto their close family members. So there is no secret formula. No matter how hard you run, no matter how much you hide of yourself, no matter how much you change, it's not going to make them happy because they don't want to be happy. Okay? I'm just sharing truth with you. Number 2. The lie. No one will ever love you the way I do. Or, no one will ever know you the way I know you. I know you better than anyone in the world. Those are lies. Sometimes when I'm working with people in my face-to-face coaching that are still stuck in the trauma bond, they'll say things like that. They'll say, but I can't let go because he or she told me that, they love me like nobody else. They love me the way no one has ever loved me before. And then I'll ask them a question. I'll say, okay, well, what are the things they do that make you feel that way? What are the things they do to make you feel loved in ways you've never been loved before? And that's usually the point they either laugh or they're like, Michelle, I I don't know why, I don't get it. Then why am I feeling this? Why am I so stuck with this belief if I can't even provide you or myself with evidence? The reason why you're falling for this lie has to do a little bit with you, okay? And I'm not saying that in a accusatory way. I want to explain something about all of us that went through narcissistic abuse. We believe what they tell us. We put faith and trust in what they tell us. We do that because that's who we are. If we're going to say something to the person we're in a relationship with, we're going to be honest. We're going to say what we really feel. Sadly, we sometimes project our good qualities onto the toxic or malignant narcissist, thinking that if they say it, they must mean it because when we say it, we mean it. And unfortunately, they don't operate from the same belief system or values that we operate from. And so you're believing something because they're saying it. When the truth is, if you take the words of a toxic person and you take their actions, they are never on the same page. Never. So we need to remember that. And the other reason why we tend to believe that lie is because toxic people, they choose people with a shame wound. They choose people that at one time in their life didn't feel enough. Maybe it's not showing up in your life when you meet the toxic person, but at some time in your life you had a shame wound. They can tell. They reopen it by, first of all, finding out what it is that made you feel not enough. So they will show an incredible amount of interest in your life for you to share your wounds and feel safe with them. Little do you know, they're like putting it in their pocket for future reference. They're like making a list. Oh, okay, that hurts her. She feels inadequate about this and that, or he's never had anyone love him in this way or that way. They then give you that and then take it away. So because they've at one time love bombed you and told you, I love you so much the way no one's ever loved you, you stop focusing on the 90% of the time where they've taken it away, and you remember the 10% of the time or less, maybe it should be 99.1, but you remember the crumbs of love, and it creates a trauma bond, and it makes it hard to let go of. But the truth is, here's the truth. If somebody really loved you the way no one else has loved you, if somebody really honored and respected you the way you deserve to be loved, honored, cherished, and respected, it would be very easy for you to make a list of all the ways that they allow you to see that, to feel that. If you can't, if you're with somebody that you think loves you the way no one else does, and you can't even think of 2 things that they do to make you feel that way, you've fallen for the lie. Number 3. Malignant narcissists want you to think that they're talking trash about you in the way that they're talking trash to you. For example, let's say 2 people are going to court, right? Let's say they just split up and they're fighting over whether it's money, whether it's children, no matter what it is. Let's actually use the illustration of children. So the malignant narcissist will tell that person, you're a horrible parent. You're the worst parent in the world. The kids don't even like you. No one can stand you. You are awful. In other words, to your face, they're smearing you in a very painful, vulgar, direct, cruel way. What they want you to believe is that they're doing that behind your back as well. They want you to think that they're talking to other people about you in that same way that they're talking to you. Why? Because if you know that what they're saying is a lie, right? And they're saying it so painfully, derogatorily obvious, you want to defend yourself. It's a normal automatic reaction we have as humans. If somebody says, Michelle, you beat your kids, It's an automatic reaction when you know something isn't true to want to prove the truth, especially if whatever they're accusing you of is close to home. And there is no closer to home than somebody's children, right? So what happens as a result of their wanting you to think that, as a result of this lie, what happens is victims of narcissistic abuse, and I see it all the time, they then go on a damage control smear campaign where they are trying to prove that their ex is talking so bad about them and doing so many awful things, and it's all a lie and everything they're saying isn't true. And it backfires. It backfires because the toxic person isn't doing that. They are smearing your name, don't get me wrong. They are smearing your name. They're just not doing it like that. This is how the toxic person smears your name. I don't know why X is, talking so bad about me and trying to turn the kids against me. Let's say that's what they're doing, right? They always project what they're doing. I don't know why they're trying to turn the kids against me. I would never do that. I think every child should have both parents, and I think she or he, should be in their life. I think they're a great parent. I don't know why they're so negative. I hope he or she gets over it and starts to just be happy. As I'm talking like that, it's irritating myself. But anyway, that's how they do it. So when you come along defending fiercely, defending yourself in a very strong manner, it automatically causes the people that they're smearing to and you're trying to defend to, it automatically causes them to look at you in a negative light. And the toxic, malignant narcissist knows that. That's why they do it. So, how do you know if you're falling for this lie? If you have found yourself defending yourself, over-defending, over-justifying, over-explaining because of what you think the other person is doing or saying, then you've fallen for the lie. The best way to disprove their lies, there's no 100% damage removal. Okay, you can't remove all the damage that the toxic person does against your name and your reputation. Unfortunately, I wish there was a magic button you can push that just erases all the toxic they flung at you. But even though they do cause damage with their smear campaign, one of the things that you can do that will help you to not add fuel to their burning your name fire is stop. I'm going to use an expression that a client of mine says to me that taught me from another video that I haven't seen, but he talks about the no jade technique. Do not justify, apologize for something you didn't do, defend, or explain. No jade, okay, when it comes to the smear campaign. You don't need to justify what you're doing in response to the toxic person's behavior. The more information you give, the less people believe anyway. So as long as you know that you're doing the right thing, as long as you know that you are doing things in a way where you're proud of yourself in the way you're handling it, you don't need anyone else to give you the validation that you're doing the right thing, okay? It sucks. I know there's no perfect way to handle the smear campaign, but the best way to handle it is to not absorb it, to know that that's them. You don't need anyone else to be on your side. That's what the toxic person wants you to think, that there are sides and people have to choose. Anyone that feels that way and supports it, it's not worth having them near you anyway. But again, the way you handle is by no jade. Do not justify, apologize, defend, or explain things that are personal and that don't need to be validated by anyone but yourself. The fourth truth that covert narcissists, now we're kind of specifying covert narcissists now, but the truth that covert narcissists don't want you to know is that they know and are fully aware that what they're doing is wrong and abusive. Here's a way to tell if you've fallen for this lie. Again, I get a lot of clients in my face-to-face coaching that tell me Michelle, I don't think she or he is doing it on purpose. I don't think that it's that calculated. Honestly, I don't think she or he is smart enough to actually do this on purpose. I think that there's just, it just happens. If you've ever wondered or thought that, then you have fallen for their lie. And there's nothing more powerful than the narcissist, than for you to not know that they are a toxic narcissist. It's as powerful as your neighbor being a thief, wanting to rob your house, and you not believing that they're a thief. You would never ever believe that, and all the evidence is there, but you're like, no, you don't want to see that reality. You refuse to see that reality. Your neighbor's happy. So is the toxic, malignant narcissist when you don't think that they're doing it on purpose. So how can you tell? Especially if you are dealing with a covert narcissist, who is somebody that is super charming, super likable in a group, that knows how to be like the center of attention, and that you notice that people like gravitate to this person, right? The way that you can tell if they are a covert narcissist, because this doesn't apply to overt narcissists, okay? I'm really specifying covert narcissists right now, is when you think about the abusive, unloving, cruel behaviors that they inflict on you. Do they change when you're in public? Are they a different person in front of other people? Do they seem to hide those things about themselves? Because if they can hide the abuse in public, it's only because they are aware that it's wrong. If they didn't think it was wrong, they wouldn't hide it. And hello, overt narcissist. Okay, but again, we're talking about the covert narcissist who acts like Mr. Nice Guy or Mrs. Amazing, affectionate, loving woman, who behind closed doors is the exact opposite. If they can turn it on and off, depending on their audience, then they do know that what they're doing is wrong. It's a hard pill to swallow. And I think a lot of people, when they're at that point, think, and they're telling me, Michelle, no, it's not done on purpose. I think in part it's because it's hard to digest that this person that loves you is capable of strategically doing things that internally devastate you. But it's a truth they don't want you to believe, but in order for you to heal and move forward, we need to see these truths for what they are so we can begin changing. Last truth. That they don't want you to know is that when there's a difference in the relationship, they want to resolve the difference. They want you to think that they want to resolve the problem. That's a lie. They don't want resolution. They don't want to see your perspective. They don't want to reach some kind of a reconciliation. No. And here's how to tell if you've fallen for this lie. If in every disagreement you keep thinking, if I just can get through, if I can just get him or her to see my perspective, then they'll get it and we'll be fine. Like the conversation will resolve itself. If you're stuck in that thought and you continue to try to get through to them and it's like you never can, it's because you're believing the lie that they want to resolve the problem. Now, any normal, healthy person should want to resolve a disagreement. But sadly, we're not talking about normal, healthy people. We're talking about malignant narcissists. And they don't want to resolve the problem. They don't want to see your perspective, because to see your perspective would mean that you have a perspective. And they see you as an extension of themselves. Therefore, you need to see it their way or the highway. The other reason they don't want to resolve is because then that means that then they can't feed off of your emotion. They can't feed off of the drama. They want drama, not resolution. And if you don't believe me, pause and ask yourself, in every disagreement you've had with a toxic malignant narcissist or someone you suspect, right? Because it's opinion only, somebody that you suspect is a toxic malignant narcissist, did you ever reach a conclusion where you both saw each other's perspective? You both made some kind of move to meet at the middle ground? Or was it you never getting your perspective seen, heard, or cared about, and you having to give in all the way and them not budging an inch or a centimeter? If they wanted resolution, you would get resolution, but with a malignant narcissist, there never is. What happens is the victim gets tired of banging their head against the wall. They just stop. They let go of trying to get their point across, and then the next day, the toxic person wakes up as if nothing happened the day before. It's like the conflict never existed. So it's a lie that toxic people want you to believe that they actually want peace and they actually want resolution. That's a lie.